Okay, I guess it's live. Whoop-de-doo. I'm actually doing live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, which hopefully won't be too weird for people watching. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it is and was, most definitely. Move my microphone a little bit. So I'm using the YouTube friends here, Facebook friends here. Just know that I'm today just trying out Facebook on my computer, and I'm doing YouTube on my phone just because I want to see if I can, to see if I can focus on that many things at the same time. I just finished a live stream on Huajiao, which is a Chinese live streaming platform, and it went okay. We had about 400 people watching. Not as many as we've had in the past, but pretty good. But if you're an English language learner, this is probably a little easier for you. Hi, Anko. Oh, Angel, that's right. Good to see you again. I'm glad you're here. You guys on YouTube certainly probably know what's going on here. On Facebook, if you don't, let me just explain. What we're doing is not a class where I just talk and talk and talk and explain things, but a class where I talk and talk and talk and answer questions. The purpose of this live session is to help you with your questions. This is probably the 4th week I've done it on, hello Ankit, nice to see you. This is probably the 4th week I've done it on YouTube, and it's the first time on Facebook. And so basically what we do here is just talk about English. Hello, Ali. Good to see you. You were here last week, right? I believe. Hello, Lam. Hello. Bank is here. Holy cow. I know Bank. What is Bank doing here? Bank actually knows me quite well. So basically what we're doing, hi Bank, what we're doing is just a live class to answer English questions. So I hope you guys ask good questions. If you do not ask questions, then we have nothing to talk about. I mean, I can talk forever, but what I talk about won't be useful or interesting to anybody probably but myself. So this is supposed to be driven by you guys. This is supposed to be driven by the viewers. If you're an English language learner, if you have trouble with specific words, if you have trouble with any grammar points that you don't completely understand, you want to meet me, well, you've met me here on Facebook. Here we are. If you have questions about culture, maybe American culture, whatever it is, ask good questions. We'll talk about the questions, we'll answer them, and that's how it works. That's how it works. So I'm glad everybody could join us. All right, looks like Angel has our first question. Hip, hip, hooray. Let me first just take a sip of coffee, just to prepare myself mentally. Take a sip of coffee, just a tiny sip of coffee. I'll tell you another thing that makes this weird. Let me just tell you this, okay? I've got my phone there. I've got my computer here, okay? When I lift up my right hand, I should take a picture of this. When I lift up my right hand, on my phone, I'm seeing two pictures. I'm seeing my phone here, my computer here. On my phone, the hand appears to be on the same side, like a mirror, like when you look in a mirror. But when I look on my computer screen, the hand is over there. It looks like it would look if I were holding up my left hand. So it's extremely confusing. It's very weird, but I'll get used to it. I will get used to it for sure. Sometimes what I do is I go out somewhere to do a live class, and I've gone out to, for example, Central Park or Times Square, the Brooklyn Bridge, and one time we had about I was like 10,000 people watching at one time, maybe because China has large populations, so that a lot of people can watch at the same time. We were on the Brooklyn Bridge, and the police were asking us questions, and people were asking questions, and people running around, jogging. Right, it was just crazy. And so it's something that I've started to get used to. Hello, Ado. Good to see you. Welcome back. Something I've started to get used to is the live format. When I first started doing it about a year ago, even the simplest thing, one question would make me panic, and I wouldn't be able to handle anything. I'm a little more comfortable now, so if I seem calm, it's because I am. All right, we've got our first question. Again, remember, ask good questions, and ye shall get reasonable answers. No questions, no answers. All right, so vocabulary or sentence composition, what is better to learn first? YouTube's thing is weird. They disappear and you have to touch the screen. Vocabulary or sentence composition, what is better to learn first? Okay, so the human brain is built to process grammatical structures. It's built to process grammar. In other words, if you have a child and you talk to the child often, you don't need to say, listen, little boy, listen, little girl, this is a verb. This is an adjective. You don't have to say that sort of thing. They'll learn those words later, but just by the way that the human brain is structured, and this is not me who's saying this, is linguists say this, the way that the human brain is structured, or basically built, babies are able to begin to, from birth, start putting sounds together in a way that starts to be sort of grammatical. It's sort of built in. And the more they hear, the more input they get, the more interaction they get, the more they're able to start building out their sort of model of their language. By the age of, I think it's by the age of 2, no, for the first one I think it's 6 months, where basically the phonemes, which are the sounds in the language, sort of get locked in. So if you're a Japanese baby and you're with your Japanese mama and your Japanese grandma, your okasan, and you're basically listening to the sounds that make up Japanese, those sort of get locked in at a certain point. And so that's why as you get older, it gets harder and harder to learn a language. If you're 60 and you're trying to learn a language, it will be way harder than if you were trying to learn a language at age 2 or age 1, better at birth. It's not like you start when you start speaking. You start when you're born, maybe even before you're born. And so you don't have to learn grammar or study grammar. You have to see many examples. You have to hear people speak, and over time your brain will figure out how it fits together. Now, of course, having somebody explain to you, well, in this case we do this, in this case we do this. When we're speaking in the past, when we're talking about something that's finished and then another thing happened in the past, we say, I had been there 3 times before, and I'm talking about last Thursday. So I've been there 4 times. That's something that you can understand better if somebody tells you. That's true. But for a lot of that stuff, you don't need to stress too much about it. I wouldn't recommend that you sit down and say, I'm going to study a grammar book, and I'm going to learn all the rules of grammar. Because the rules of grammar are built around how the language already is. Grammar didn't come first, and then the language followed. Language changes. Language is a human thing, and then grammar books come along to try to explain how it all fits together, basically. So, to the question, should I learn vocabulary or sentence structures? Vocabulary is sort of the building block. If you don't know any words, then nothing is going to really make sense. Although there is some research that says that hearing the sounds of a language a lot helps to build a sort of foundation and makes it easier to learn later. But you have to learn words first. You've got to learn words. You have to have enough vocabulary to have a basic foundation. So I would recommend to anybody, if you don't know at least 500 words, you're probably not going to get very far. So study vocabulary. But once you get up to a certain point, then you really need to learn everything you learn in context. That means you learn vocabulary and sentences at the same time. You shouldn't, at a certain point, I would say maybe around 500 words, you should not be learning words by themselves in a list. That's not a good way to learn words. Now, flashcards can help you remember, that's true. But when you learn the word, it should be in context, in a sentence. Why is that? Well, if for example, if you learn the word, let's say you learn the word cool. Okay, that's a common word, especially recently, and maybe the last, I don't know, 40 years. If you learn the word cool, you'll learn the first meaning. The meaning of cool is that maybe it's not very hot, it's a little bit cold, and you'll maybe learn that cool can be used to talk about somebody's, so the temperature of something, then it can be used to talk about how you feel about something, that something is good or you like it. But that one's very complicated because it's not used by everybody. My grandma doesn't usually say the word cool, but people in a certain age group do say the word cool, and they may use it in different ways. So in that case, you have to see the word cool in lots of different examples, lots of different sentences, whether that comes from reading or from television or from movies or whatever. You have to learn it in context. So I would not say that you should be, if you're able to write what you wrote, you probably know enough words. You should be learning sentences and words at the same time. At the same time, together. See a sentence? Oh, there's a new word. I don't know that word. So look at the context, try to understand it in that context, look it up in the dictionary, look at some other sentences that include that word, and then you will understand it more deeply, and that will be one of the cases in which you have seen it. And the more situations you see that word used in, the better, the deeper your understanding of the word. And you're also getting a feeling for how that word fits into a sentence that a real native English speaker said. And so you can then have a better feeling about how to actually use that word in the future and how to build that sentence in the future. So I hope that answers your question. Basically, the answer is you should be learning them at the same time. At the same time. Don't separate it out too much. Don't say, okay, I'm going to learn sentences and then I'm going to learn words. It doesn't work like that for any language, unless you're absolutely a beginner and you don't know any words. But if that's the case for you, you shouldn't be watching this, and you probably didn't understand a word that I said, and I was just practicing my vocal cords. Anyway, all right, looks like Facebook. Any questions from you guys on Facebook? Not very many people watching on Facebook. It looks like we have about 10 people on YouTube, though. Hello, teacher, here. Oh, I think I might have missed a question earlier. I don't want to miss questions. How can I use they as a singular pronoun because I can't totally understand it? Wow, that is a good question. I like that question. Hello, teacher. Here, Alex, and a university student from Hong Kong. I've been watching your channel for a while. That's cool. Hello, is it Kartik Kartik Raja? Oh, I should say I'm gonna every time I see a name, I'm gonna try to say it. And it's gonna be a mess if it's a name that is not familiar to me already. So I hope that that's just at the very least entertaining. My name is Luke, by the way. If you don't know me, my name is Luke. I'm a teacher from America. I teach English, I make videos, and I do other things too. Um, so basically, if you haven't seen my videos, make sure to subscribe to this channel. And I do a video. For the next month, I'm gonna be doing a video every single day. So please do subscribe and let me know what kind of videos you like to see. Let me know what topics you want. I listen to you when I make topics, so make sure to do that. Okay, I'm going to answer both the questions after I take another sip of coffee. Because I don't know if I look sleepy, but I am sleepy. But I need more coffee. The L stands for Luke. By the way, I live in New York here. So if you have any questions about, I don't know, New York, city living, America, whatever, any question is okay. Just don't ask me to stop drinking coffee. All right, so let's look at the they as a singular pronoun. So have you ever heard somebody say something like this? If someone says that if someone says that they never want to travel abroad, if someone says that they never want to travel abroad, they are probably pretty confused. If someone says that they never want to travel abroad, they are probably a bit closed-minded. That means they're not very curious about the world. They, someone, they, what's that about? We know how they works with more than one person, right? For example, Lisa and Charlie are going to get some pizza. They love pizza. We understand that because Lisa and Charlie are two people and they love pizza. When we put them together, we use they if it's the subject of the sentence, right? It helps us to save time and energy. We don't have to say Lisa and Charlie, Lisa and Charlie, Lisa and Charlie, Lisa and Charlie. We can start saying they. If it's one person, we use he. If it's another person, we use she. If it's a thing, we use it, right? But there are times when we're not talking about someone specific. We don't know exactly who it is, a person. And sometimes we use they. So here's another example, okay? And sometimes it can be a specific person. We just don't know maybe their name, right? I went to a shop yesterday and asked someone where the Adidas shoes were, and they told me that they didn't have Adidas shoes. Okay, so the first they is about the person I asked. I asked the attendant where the Adidas shoes were, and they told me they didn't have any Adidas shoes. The second they is about the establishment, the place, the store itself. If a person at a store, a shop assistant, says, "We don't have that." "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, we don't sell that here." What is the we about? The we is the whole store, the establishment, the place that you are in. So if we say they, then we're talking about either the person who I'm not being clear whether or not, I'm not saying whether or not it's I'm not saying if it is a woman or a man, or I'm talking about the store. So I hope that makes sense. And when I said the first example about travel, if someone says they don't like travel, they are probably somewhat closed-minded. There, it's the best one to use because we're not saying, we're not specifying, we're not being specific about whether it is a man or a woman. And the reason it's convenient to use they is because if you use he or she every time, wow, that's even more tiring. That almost eliminates the purpose of having a pronoun, right? If you say, if someone says they don't like travel, they don't like to travel abroad, he or she is probably somewhat close-minded. Yeah, you can do that, but do you want to say he or she every single time? You really don't. You really don't. So they is quite useful in this case, right? It's like saying he or she, he or she. Or it's like talking about maybe a company, a store, or something like that. Or, of course, it can be used for actually plural, more than one person together. They, they. Oh, thank you for the little emoji, dude. Much appreciated. Okay, that's a good question. I hope I have answered the question to your satisfaction. If not, let me know. Okay, now I'm going to answer Alex's question. Alex says, I've been so confused for asking questions in English. That's a funny thing to say. Ho, ho, ho. Like sometimes people will say, what do you want? Some people say, say what you want to make a question. Trying to think about what you mean there, sir. I'm going to read that again. I've been so confused for asking questions in English. Like sometimes people will say, what do you want? Sometimes people will say, what you want to make a question. Can you be more specific? I don't understand your question. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to make sure I answer the right question, and I don't fully understand. I don't completely understand your question. Sorry about that. You have to ask it again in another way. Hey, Magda's here. Good. Magda's been liking my videos on Facebook, which makes me very happy. Nothing better than, I don't know if you guys know this, but I make videos, right? And if people say, I like this video, that makes me feel good. It's a very simple thing, right? But I like it. It's good. I like when people like my videos and find them useful. If they're not, I hope people can say, listen, I didn't like the last video you made. It wasn't very useful and it wasn't interesting. I don't really like that. That's good feedback. You can say that too. I like that. Okay. All right. Difference between holiday and vacation, and then I'm going to answer Kartik's question, or Raja's question, okay? So differences between holiday and vacation. Wow. You know what? YouTube is getting pretty annoying because I wish the stupid comments would stay where they are. Okay. Difference between holiday and vacation. How to use them here in Mexico. They are just vacaciones. All right, good question. So in England, holiday is used more to mean to travel, right? So for example, if somebody in England says, I'm going on holiday, right, they'll say, where are you going next week? Well, I'm going on holiday to Vietnam for a couple of weeks. Americans would say, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to go on vacation to Vietnam for 2 weeks. They won't say, I'm going on holiday. So British people say, I'm going on holiday. American people say, I'm going on vacation. Americans do use the word holiday, but when we say holiday, we don't say, let's go on a holiday. We say, tomorrow is a holiday. That means it's a special day that celebrates a specific thing, like Martin Luther King Jr. Day, or Independence Day, which is the day that we celebrate the American independence, or perhaps, well, I guess Christmas is, we would say, oh, I can't wait for the Christmas holiday. So it's a period of time, but it's a special thing in the year, and it's related to a specific day or maybe several days. The Christmas holiday, the Thanksgiving holiday, that sort of thing. That's how Americans use the word holiday. We don't use holiday to mean travel, and we don't mean holiday to say, for example, to during the summer. We don't have school. We don't usually say summer holiday. We say much more often vacation. In America, Americans use vacation in several ways. Number one, we say vacation means a break where we don't have to work or go to school. Summer vacation. That doesn't mean we travel somewhere. It just means we don't have to work or go to school. Summer vacation. Now, the weekend is not vacation. The weekend is not vacation. That's just the weekend. It's not special, right? So vacation is still used for a special purpose. Summer vacation, for example. Or we might say Christmas vacation. You could say Christmas vacation. That means there's maybe a 3-week period. Let's say you're in college, you're in university, and you don't have to go to school. You could say Christmas vacation for that period of time. You could also say Christmas break. Sometimes people say winter break. Spring break is another period of time. Spring vacation, sometimes. But Americans also use vacation to mean travel. So if we say, I'm going on vacation, that means we're going to actually travel somewhere. Because there are many types of travel. There's business travel. You could go on a business trip, right? There's also vacation. Vacation means you're going somewhere, and the purpose of that trip that you're going on is fun, relaxation. So if we say, why is Jordan Ray here? You learning English too, Jordan Ray? I should be clear. This live class is for English language learners. If you're not one, you're welcome to be here. But I would imagine that you would find this stream, which is both on YouTube and Facebook, useless in the extreme. In America, when we say vacation, it's the kind of travel that is enjoyable, where we're going to relax, we're going to have fun. Okay, I'm going on vacation. I'm going on vacation to Thailand next week. It means I'm not going for business. So it includes the purpose of my trip. And again, that's how Americans usually use it. British people don't use it the same way. Okay, so I hope I answered your question. No problem. Anybody's welcome. Anybody's welcome. My mom shared some of my videos on her Facebook recently, and I'm not sure why. Because all of her friends are Americans and native English speakers. What's the point? But whatever, that's cool. I'm fine with it. How are you, Jordan Ray? I haven't talked to you in a while. Like 20 years, perhaps. It's been a while. That's the weird thing about Facebook. The weird thing about Facebook is, and other social media platforms, you're aware of people and you kind of see what's going on with them. You see, someone's traveling somewhere, someone's maybe had a baby, someone's doing something, and you haven't talked to them in a very, very long time. But because you know what they're up to, it almost discourages or makes it sometimes less likely that you'll actually talk to them one-on-one. So for example, Jordan Ray's here. I haven't talked to him in a very, very long time. Now I am, because he's here. But sometimes I wonder if that effect is a good thing or a bad thing. We're aware of people and what they're doing, and that makes us sometimes talk to them less. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Anyway, so to Raja's question, I'm learning words from the last 2 years. You could say, Raja, I've been learning words for the last 2 years. By the way, YouTube people, this is a Facebook question I'm reading. Just to remind everybody, I have not done a Facebook live stream before. This is my first one. We've been doing the YouTube ones for about 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks. So just if you're wondering why, YouTube people, why sometimes I'm looking down, because I'm looking at Facebook. And Facebook people, if you wonder why I'm looking up, it's because I'm looking at YouTube. Because I haven't figured out how to do them both at the same time, but maybe I will figure it out, I hope. Okay. Wow, Raja, answer my query, bro. That's a little direct, man. It almost makes me not want to answer it. You can't say that. There's a lot going on here. I can't answer everybody's question at the same time. So you gotta be patient, you know? You gotta be patient. Um, uh, Next time, if you ask a question and you want to remind me to answer it, you can say, so how about my question? So how about my question? But if you say, answer my query, bro, it sort of feels like I've got a finger in my face, right? So I recommend not using that phrase. And I realize you probably don't mean to do that, right? But I just want to let you know that following up or pushing someone in that way is not the best way. Okay, I'm learning words. I've been learning words for the last 2 years by reading a national newspaper editorial column. I have a list of, you don't need to, it's okay, you don't need to apologize. I'm just letting you know. I have a list of many words. I mark words and find meanings in the dictionary. You could say, I look them up in the dictionary. I look them up in the dictionary. So these words are written in editorial by journalists or subject experts. So my question, I know words that well suits for literature or writing aspects, but how can I use to communicate while speaking? I enjoy hunting words. Okay, so it sounds like looking up words is your hobby and finding interesting words is your hobby. That's fine. Everybody has a hobby. But just don't expect that that hobby is going to make you better at speaking. You have to be clear about what your goals are. If your goal is to know a lot of words, so that's fine. Look up words, find meanings. If they're very specific words, that's called, by the way, jargon. I think I can write that down here. I think I can type in Facebook. Just called a jargon. Great, right? For curiosity's sake, learn them, and maybe if that's your field, then it's very useful. But just know that that by itself is not going to make you a better speaker. It's actually a separate skill. Being able to speak well is a separate skill. I know a guy whose main hobby is looking up and researching the not only the meanings of English words, but also the origin of English words, which is a study called etymology. So he's kind of an amateur English etymologist. He's Chinese. An etymologist basically looks at, well, this word comes from French or this word comes from whatever. And unfortunately, he is a terrible English speaker. He can't speak English at all. They're totally separate skills. It's like reading about a great, I don't know, whatever you like, race car driver, let's say an F1 driver. You read everything about this F1 driver's technique. You read everything about their style. You know all of the words. You know everything about it in your mind. But that doesn't make you a great F1 driver, right? So just be clear about that. If you want to know how to really use words, as I was saying, you've got to learn them in the right context. And you've got to pay attention to how, especially, the words are used in a speaking context, in real situations, like watching a TV show. If you watch a TV show, and a classic TV show for learning English is maybe Friends, because the English is not that difficult, and it's funny. It's kind of an old show, but it's a good one for learning English. So you watch that show and you see a word that's used and you see the situation it's used in, so you know that it's natural, and then you pay attention to the sentence that it's used in. Maybe you have English subtitles on. If you're watching that carefully, you write it down, you write the sentence down, and then you've learned that word in the way that it should be used. You've learned the word with context. It's called context. That is how you should learn words, if you're going to do it with the goal of being a good speaker. So if you want to be a good speaker, always learn words in context, learning many, many words and looking up the deep meaning of the word. Modern Family, okay, Joanne is watching Modern Family. That's a pretty good one too. Yeah. Just don't expect, Raja, just don't expect to be a good speaker if you do that. If that method won't make you a good speaker. I'm sure it's interesting though. All right. Hi, Coder is here. I'm going to look at some YouTube comments because I'm a little behind on the YouTube comments. Joanne has joined us. That's nice. By the way, guys, just to introduce myself, in case you don't know who I am, my name is Luke, and I'm an English teacher. My background is teaching English in China. I lived in China for 4 years. My wife is Chinese, and so I've probably been doing it for 7 years. I have an English language platform called Yoli, which is sort of like Uber for English, for language learners to actually practice English. So if you're interested in that and you have Weixin, if you're a Chinese English learner, if you have Weixin, you can go to our Weixin 公众号. It's yoliyingyu. 我们的微信公众号是 yoliyingyu, yoliyingyu. And then you can see videos and take lessons with native English speakers. We have many teachers teaching there on WeChat. But I also do videos, so I hope you can subscribe to my YouTube. I would love if you would comment under the videos and like the videos and share the videos on Facebook or whatever, Twitter, doesn't matter. Share them, like them, spread them around. I'm going to be putting up a video every single day for the next month. It's my plan. And so, again, I hope you guys can subscribe to my channel so that you can see when those are posted. All right, to the questions. I'm behind. All right, so back to Alex's question. What did you do? What did you did? I'm really sorry, man. I still am not clear on what your question is. You've got to think of a way to communicate the question really clearly because I'm not clear on what you're asking. I'm going to move on. Any hints or good phrases on how to cut the conversation in a polite way? That's a great question. All right, so I'm going to just write that down. How to stop a conversation politely. Yep, that's a really good question. Don't say bye. Okay, Joanne says, I like your videos because you use simple English that I can almost understand 100%. Lol. Thank you, Joanne. I appreciate it. We can't write this is like this is. Oh, that's a question. That's a good question. So usually we don't write THIS'. That's right. By the way, that thing is called an apostrophe. We don't usually write that, but people do say it like that. They say this is my grandma. Her name is Jeannie. This is. We do say it like that. Okay, so it's just that when we're writing it, we write THIS. Spoken as a. It's called a conjunction when you take. No, it's not. Sorry, it's called contraction when you take words and you put them together into one word. So some contractions are more just spoken, not written. I've seen THIS'' maybe once, but it's not. No, it's not. It's not good. Not good. Okay. Magda says, I mean when chatting on Messenger when we are not in a mood to chat or have plans. Okay, so I'm going to add that to the question. Not in the mood to chat. Just ignore them, Magda. Don't even talk to them. Magda's question is good, though. It's impossible to not like your videos, and it's a great opportunity to immerse in the real English. Thank you. That's a nice thing to say. I appreciate it. I don't have a friend who speaks English, and I'm bored of speaking. I really don't like how the comment scrolling thing works on YouTube. Very annoying. I don't have a friend in English, and I'm bored of speaking to myself. What to do or any other way that will make me talk in English? Okay, so better English environment. Okay, that's a good question. Describing something borderline good or bad. So maybe ways to say things that are not 100% good or bad. Okay, that's good. That's a good question too. And let's see. Another question. Okay, Magda has too many questions. I can't answer all of them. It's so many. Yeah, sure. Joanne, the WeChat account, the Gongzhonghao is, I don't think I can type on, I don't think I can type on YouTube, but it's, maybe you can write it for me. It's yoliyingyu. yoliyingyu. Okay. All right, so let me answer some of the questions that I've got down here. Just finished a drama called Breaking Bad. It is awesome. Yeah, Coder is right. Breaking Bad is awesome, but I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. Some people might like it and some won't. It's about a guy named Walter White who becomes he's a English, no, he's a chemistry teacher, and then he becomes he starts making drugs. And it's very interesting. It's a really good story. So if you haven't seen Breaking Bad and you like kind of cool dramas, it's good. It's very good. It's an amazing show. Westworld is also a great show. If you haven't seen Westworld, that show is awesome. I like Westworld. I like Breaking Bad. I like Black Mirror very much. Black Mirror is an awesome show. And Stranger Things. Stranger Things is also really good. Stranger Things is about, if you haven't seen it, it's kind of a science fiction show, and it's about kids who they always experience some crazy, strange phenomenon in their town, and the story is really good. Very interesting. All right, so let me answer a few of these questions. Drug dealer is a cool job. Maybe. All right, so how do I stop a conversation politely, or if I don't want to talk, I'm not in the mood? So if you're talking with someone and you're face to face with them, you can start by saying, well, it was really nice chatting with you. It was really nice chatting with you means basically, now I'm finished chatting. Or if you hadn't seen that person in a long time, then you could say, it was great catching up. It was great catching up. Catching up means we hadn't talked to each other in a very, very long time. And so now we've met and we're now talking about things that have happened to us maybe recently, right? So when we do that, we catch up. And when we're done, we can say, well, it was great catching up. But I should probably run. Doesn't mean that we actually have to run. It just means go. I should probably run. Or I'd better, yes, that's right. That's correct. Correct. Catch up. Or it was great catching up. I had better run. I should probably get going. G-E-T, going. I should probably get going. And then you could also say the reason. Well, I've got to get to my son's football practice. Or, well, I'm supposed to be home by 6, so I should probably get going. What's the question? I'm going to go through a couple more things you can say in this case, okay? You could also say, well, it was nice talking with you. It was nice talking with you. Let's maybe meet up sometime. Let's meet up sometime. Or let's meet sometime for coffee. That's called a false invitation. That means we're not really inviting because the other person will say, oh yeah, that sounds great. Sounds great. But we're not really saying a date and a time, so it's kind of a way to say, oh, we'll meet later, but maybe we're not actually serious about it, although maybe we are. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. But the most common one is, I should probably get going, I'd better run, or saying the thing that you have to do. I need to get to my English class by 6 o'clock, so I'd better go. It was nice catching up. It was nice chatting. Okay? Then, if you're just not in the mood to talk, let's say you're on Facebook Messenger and you're talking with your friend, and I guess the situation would be you want to stop talking. You don't want to have a conversation right now. You could just say, well, actually, no, you wouldn't say well because you're typing, right? Ask a question. Can we talk later? Can we talk later? Can we talk later? If somebody says to you in the moment, hey, can you talk? You can say, now is not a great time. Now is not a great time. That means you're not in the mood to talk. Now is not really a great time to talk. Are you free to talk? Can you talk now? Not really. Not really. Not really. Or if you really want to just focus on your feeling, you can say, I'm not up to it. I'm not really feeling up to it. I'm not feeling up to it today. You can also say that if somebody invites you to do something and you want to say no. Do you want to go get a cup of coffee? I'm not really up to it today. I'm not really up for it today. Or you can say, I'm not really in the mood. I'm not really in the mood. You can't really use the in the mood one, though, for a conversation. You can't say, I'm not in the mood to talk to you. It sounds a little bit strange. So it's better there to just say, can we talk later? Can we talk later? That would be better in that situation. But for inviting, you can say, I'm not really in the mood, not really up for it, not really up to it. I don't really feel like it. Feel like it. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Ways to say things that are not 100% maybe good, not 100% bad. So you could say, one way to soften bad is to say not great. Instead of how was the movie? Instead of saying bad, you could say, not great. Not great. It does mean bad, basically. Another way to say it would be, it could have been better. Could have been better. How was the movie? Could have been better. How was your job interview? It could have gone better. It could have gone better. Okay? If you were talking about something that's good and you don't want to say just good, well, of course we can always add pretty in front of it. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good doesn't mean very good. Pretty good means that it's like almost good, but it's a little bit less than great. It's not as strong as saying good. Good. If you say pretty good, pretty good. It wasn't bad. It was maybe more than okay, but you wouldn't just say good, good, really good. So it's a little bit less, a little bit less. If something is good, we can also say, yeah, fine, fine. Fine is also not as strong as saying, fine is not quite as strong as saying good, usually. Fine. How are you? I'm fine. Usually we say it with that tone, and with that tone you can kind of hear, I'm fine. That not everything is perfect, right? I'm fine, I guess. I guess I'm fine. Okay. Quite good. It's not that common, actually. When I'm in a bad mood, I don't talk to anyone. I talk to myself. That's nice. Me too, but I do it in my mind. I don't talk out loud to myself, usually. I often talk to my cats, though. More than good or less than great. 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 What's more than good or less than great? Okay, it'll be better. It was quite good. It'll be better, though, is a different meaning. If you say it will be better, that means the future is going to be better than it is now, right? If, for example, the weather, it's raining or it's cold or whatever, it's going to get better later today. It's going to get better later today. It's going to get better. That means the weather will improve. And then if you say, what was the other one? Quite good. Quite good is okay. You can say, how was the meal? You went to that new restaurant in your neighborhood. We were talking about that. How was it? Yeah, quite good. Quite good. You can say that. It's not as common as pretty good or really good, but it's fairly common. Yeah, it's quite common, I would say. I use it sometimes. YouTube has a question, but I missed it, so let me go back. What's the meaning of dun, dun, right at the top of my head, and difference between couple and several? You guys got to be really clear with your questions, because some questions are very easy to misunderstand. I've really got to think about this question. What is the meaning of right at, why are there 2 exclamation points there? What is the meaning of right at the top of my head and difference between couple and several? Oh, pretty good. Oh, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good is not as good usually. Pretty good is not as good, but better than fine. It's about the same as fine. Better than so-so. It's better than so-so and not quite as good as good. But it also depends on your voice when you say it and the tone you use. Okay, so the other question is, I'm just trying to understand it. Right at the top of my head and the difference between couple and several. I'll start with couple and several. So actually, couple and several are used basically the same. If you say, we have a couple more days before we need to start thinking about packing for our trip. Packing means getting all of your clothes and stuff ready for a vacation. We have a couple more days. So that's more common. In that sort of case, that's more common than saying we have several days. We have several days before we need to start thinking about that. So in this way, they have basically the same meaning, but a couple is more common. Actually, people usually will use several when they want to say maybe 3 or 4, and a couple is usually 2. But often when people say a couple hours, it's 2, but it's also maybe 3. So it's not very, very strict. The meaning is not very, very strict. So if I say I have a couple weeks before I need to leave, I have a couple weeks before I need to leave, probably 2 weeks. I have several weeks before I need to leave. Well, that's fine. Maybe that's 3, maybe it's 4. But I will probably say a few instead of several. A few. A couple and a few have the same grammar. A couple weeks, a few weeks. Couple weeks, a few weeks. Several weeks, then we wouldn't say, I have several weeks. I think that several is used more when we're looking at objects in the world. Right? For example, I'm looking at some plates on the table, and I say there are several dirty plates on the table. Could you please wash those? There are several dirty plates on the table. Could you please wash those? That would be probably more common than saying, well, I should say, that is common. If I say, there are a few plates on the table, that's okay too. There are a few dirty plates on the table. Can you wash them? There are a couple, actually 2, but it could be 3. There are a couple dirty plates on the table. Could you wash them? Those are all okay. But again, if I say we need to wait a few weeks, we need to wait a couple weeks, those 2 are more common than saying we need to wait several weeks. Again, it's correct, it's not wrong, but a few in that kind of case, not objects, but things like weeks or ideas, for example, a few ideas instead of I have several ideas about it. Sometimes several has the feeling of being a little bit formal in that sort of situation. So I would recommend using a few instead of several, and I would recommend using several for objects especially, but I want to be clear that it doesn't mean that it's wrong to say several weeks. It's not wrong to say several ideas. I think it's just not quite as common. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Do gold accessories have high value in the US as they have in the East? I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I can say I 100% am not qualified to answer that question. I cannot tell you anything about the value of gold or silver or any metals or gems because I do not know. It's not my area of knowledge. I'm sorry. The best thing you can do is open Google and search, because that's what I would do. If you're asking me to answer the question, I wouldn't just say, oh, well, let me tell you about gold. I have no idea. I will go to Google and I will search. But because it's your question, I think you can also go to Google and type that in. Sorry, I just don't know. Hello, teacher. I am from India. I love your videos. Thank you. All the videos are very useful for me. That's good to hear. I'm very happy to hear that, Krishna Sharma. Let me know what kind of videos you like more and what kind of videos you like less. I would appreciate that feedback. And again, if you guys are really interested in more videos, I'm going to be posting one every day. Let me know what kind of videos you prefer. I really hope, I would really appreciate if you could give them likes, comments, and shares. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you're serious language learners and you really want to focus on your English, you can check out my Udemy courses. I would really recommend those to serious learners. They're not free though, so if you're only into learning English for free, then don't buy them. But they are really useful. Pronunciation, fluency, and English, how to think in English, and I'm working on. This is something that I've been working on for a long time. Basically, everything I've learned about teaching English over the last 7 years, I'm working on a course that's going to be more than 20 hours long. And it's going to be a huge course. And it's going to have everything from how to use different verb tenses, how to handle different situations, how to explain things, how to recommend things. I can't say exactly when it will come out, but I'm really excited. And I will definitely offer a discount for everybody who wants to get it first. Again, not free though. If you do want to check out my courses, I think there's a link in the description of this. You can also, let me just show you what it looks like. So if you just search, go to Udemy, udemy.com, Udemy, search Luke Priddy, Luke Priddy. I've got 3 courses up now. So it's about fluency, basic pronunciation, and how to think in English. You can see that they're actually very highly rated. I think it's in the description here, so you can check that out if you want to. All right, let me see if I've missed anybody's questions. I wonder if Mr. Ho, if you could think about how to rephrase your question, because I really want to understand it, but I just can't quite get it. What would you do if somebody made fun of you because you mispronounced a single word, just like happened to me? I would say, listen, you need to relax. I mispronounce words all the time. I'm sitting here speaking to you guys live. I'm not saying everything perfectly. I haven't planned what I'm going to say. I'm answering questions. Nobody's perfect. Even the greatest English speakers or the greatest speakers of any language will make mistakes or say blah, 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 sometimes. It happens. I would say to that person who says, you mispronounced that word, I would say, here's a glass of whiskey. Sit down, relax. I'm going to go live my life. I mean, seriously, I find if somebody's way too focused on grammar and people making mistakes, little tiny mistakes, whether it's spoken grammar or spoken English or like written grammar, basic stuff, people make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. You've got to relax. It's not a big deal. Now, if it's a thing that comes up every single time, and you can improve that, then I will often make a suggestion. How can you say that better? I will give you a recommendation. How can you improve that thing? So if it's a thing that is a habit, then you should change the habit. But I won't call you stupid for having a habit. I mean, English is your second language. If you're speaking your second language, you're already cool, right? It's already awesome if you can speak a second language well. I'm working on Chinese, and it's hard. And learning a language is hard. Sounding natural is hard. If somebody makes fun of you for not doing it well, then you definitely shouldn't be friends with that person. That's not good. And the stupid people will criticize you for not saying something well, because that's very close-minded and unfortunate to hear. Sorry to hear that. Let's see here. Oh, no questions coming over from Facebook. Again, this is the first time I've ever done Facebook Live, ever. So I'm on Facebook here. If you're just coming in, I'm on Facebook here. I'm on YouTube here. And been doing YouTube for the last 4 weeks. First time doing Facebook, so I get not many viewers. I think there's like one person watching. Ooh. I'm not sure if I'll stick with Facebook. I just wanted to try it one time, because I can post the YouTube one on Facebook anyway. Okay. Hello, sir. I have a question. Man, I really hate the YouTube thing about the comments. They disappear, and it's very frustrating. Hello, sir. I have a question. While speaking, should I think before speaking in my mind, or just go with the flow? That's what I do when speaking in my native language. But yeah, it's a good question. Okay, so think first and then speak, or what? Okay, good. I'm going to write that down. Okay, oh, let's see, these comments disappear. It's very frustrating. What's the difference between it's not attractive to me and it's not attracting to me? That I can answer right away. It's not attracting to me is incorrect. You can just remove that from your awareness. It's not attractive to me is correct. It's not attractive is also correct. It's not attracting is not attracting to me is not right. That's the answer. I always hear two types of sentences. When you want to ask people where they went. One, where did you go? Where did you went? Which one is correct? Very good question. The reason that where did you go is correct and where you went is wrong is there are a couple reasons. If you say where did is in the past, right? Did is a past tense verb. So the next verb should be in the present tense. What did you do? What did you do? Where did you go? What did I say? What did I say? Okay, so because that verb is in the past tense, the next one is not. Where did you go is correct. Okay? What did you do is correct. The other part of that question then, why is it incorrect to say where you went? Where you went is because it doesn't include all of the grammar that is required to make a full sentence. If you want to make a full sentence, you have to say a statement. That it could be the end of a sentence that has more words in it. If you say, I don't, then you could say, know where you went, but that's not a question. You would say, where did you go? I don't know where you went. You can't say, where you went, question mark. It's incomplete. It's an incomplete sentence. Where did you go? I don't know where you went. These two are correct, but the second one isn't a question. The first one is a question. It's often like reverse, okay? What did you do? What did you do? Question. What did you do? Ends with do, okay? I don't know what you did. I don't know what you did. So there, the don't is earlier, and then did is at the end. What did you do in a question comes before. Then, if it's the answer, if it's a statement, I don't know what you did, then did is at the end of a sentence. And you can usually use that basic structure, that basic way of saying things for questions and statements. Where are you? I don't know where you are. I know where you are. Where are you? Ends with you. I don't know where you are. I know where you are. So a statement ends with the verb in this case. And you can do it for anything like that. What is she doing? Question. What is she doing? I don't know what she is doing. I don't know what she is doing. What is she doing? I don't know what she is doing. So it's like switched for a question and a statement. Hope that answers your question. Thank Haznat. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to answer a couple more questions and then I've got to go because I'm getting hungry. It's lunchtime. It's 2:32 and I have not eaten any food yet today. Okay, I'm going to answer two more questions. What's the difference between... I always... Oh, thank you for saying so. Magda says, Luke's Udemy courses are great. You purchased them. Oh, awesome. That's great. I'm happy to hear it, Magda. Yes. Of course, you don't have to. Of course, you don't have to. However, if you find it useful, and Magda has, that is awesome. And Magda, I'm working on a super course. It's going to be... It's like these courses that I've made are 3 hours long. The one I'm working on now is going to be probably, it might be 28 hours long. It's going to be like a super course, and it's going to have basically everything that any human could want to know about how to speak English well. It is so hard. I've been working at it for at least 4 hours every day for the last 3 weeks, and it's going to take me probably another 3 or 4 weeks, maybe a month to do. So I'm very excited about it, really excited. And I will definitely be offering right when I launch it. It's going to be more expensive, right? It's going to be probably, you know, I don't know, maybe $200. But when I launch it, I'll make a special price. So it'll be like, you know, $10 at first, just like a special one. I'll announce it anyway. Okay, please tell me the difference between, Hasnan says, wow, so many questions coming in. So many questions. I'm hungry, guys. Okay. Should the be pronounced like the instead of like that instead of that? No, good question. Thank you. Never say that. Always say that. The. Always, 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 always. Anytime you see a th, except for words like Thomas, Thomas, a name, in some cases th is pronounced t, like Thomas, Thomas, Thomas. But in most cases, th, in 99.9% of cases, th is pronounced th or th. That, this, thank, Thursday, right? The or th. And you have to put your tongue between your teeth. You've got to do it. Good question. Hello. I've got another question from Facebook over here. Can you explain... hello is a good way to remind me. Can you explain briefly about learning with context, as you mentioned before, and how can we learn that as a group? I have a WhatsApp group in English. Can you... how can I frame patterns to learn in context? This is a great question. So if you're learning with friends and you have a group, and by the way, I'm thinking about making a Facebook group so we can all kind of share ideas and let me know if you think that's a good idea, a group in Facebook. But basically, if you want to learn in context, you would take a couple of sentences per day and take them from the internet, take them from an article you read, take them from a movie, take them from a TV show. Write them down. Highlight 3 or 4 of the key words that you want to have people learn. 3 or 4 of the important words. Okay? So whatever it is. What's my Facebook's name? Oh, I haven't started the group, but I'm thinking about starting the group. I'm thinking about starting a Facebook group for all of us. So my Facebook is just called Cloud English. Cloud English. Hasnat, you can just search my name. My name is Luke Priddy. I think it's also in the link of the description. So basically, come up with 3 to 4 sentences, and maybe more, and not that much more. Not pretty. Priddy. Lukepriddy. I'll tell you a story about that in a second. But then you pick out the keywords, and if it's from, let's say this week it's from Friends. So these 3 sentences are lines that people said in the TV show. These are sentences in the TV show Friends. Let's learn these words. Then you have basically people pick out the words and look up the meaning. And everybody writes down their understanding of the meaning. Then everybody has to write down their own sentences in the group, write down their own sentences that use that word. And then people can comment and say, hey, I don't think you're using it correctly in this case. Actually, if you look at the original one, we learned this word and it's used in this kind of situation from Friends. I don't think that you can use it here. And if you have a native English speaker in the group, that's the best situation, because then they can say if it's being used correctly or not. And again, I'm thinking about starting a Facebook group where we can talk about this kind of stuff. Cloud English is my Facebook. You're welcome to search that. Those of you on Facebook watching, never mind. But yeah, that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. What will I have for lunch? Ugh, good question. I don't know. I gotta eat something. I'm hungry. Basically, my thing is, I don't, can listening to a podcast enhance learning? Absolutely, yes, 100%. I don't eat between 10 p.m. and 2 p.m. usually. That's sort of my diet. I don't eat anything between 10 p.m. and 2 p.m. And then 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. I can eat something. Okay, I'm gonna go back and see if I can enter some of these questions. Wow, so many questions. Oh my God, we could be here all day. Hey guys, no more questions, come on. I'm gonna try to answer these. I like the way you teach us. I learned so many words today. Thank you. You are welcome. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate the comment. Can I say there, here he comes instead of there he is? There he comes, you should say here he comes. Someone is coming now, here he comes. There he is different though. There he is means right there, right now, there he is. Maybe he's not moving. Maybe he's coming, but he doesn't have to be. If you say, here he comes, that means he's walking toward me. Ah, here he comes, here he comes. There must be some movement. There he is could be movement, or maybe not. There he is. My wife just got here. There she is. Here she comes. She's walking toward me. It's a good question. Hello, sometimes I have a problem with character outlets. Not sure what that one means. As you just explained about the past and simple past, can you explain a little bit more about the difference between simple past and past perfect? That's a good question. That would take me probably 20 minutes to answer. I've got a video about it. If you look in my YouTube videos, there is a video about that where I explain clearly how to use the simple past and simple perfect. It's a very boring video. It's probably one of the most boring videos I've ever made, but if you look in all of my YouTube ones, it's like a blackboard and I'm writing, and it's from maybe 5 years ago, but I explain the difference very clearly between different grammar in the past, and I use a picture as well. So I would recommend you just watch that one. I can't spend time answering it today because I'm about to finish up, but yeah. Hey, good to see you live. I always confuse with should, could, and would. Give me some examples. Okay, I can give you some examples. It's again a long explanation. Should is like must. You must do something. You should do your homework. You should say thank you to your grandma. You're kind of pushing somebody to do something. You should. You should. Could is more like can. You could go on a vacation. You could. You're recommending something, but they don't have to do it. You could, I don't know, you could give your chocolate to me. You don't have to do it, but it wouldn't be a bad idea, right? Would is different. Would is when we are imagining something that's not real. For example, I would love to go on a vacation, but I'm not going to go, maybe. I would love to. I'm just imagining that, right? What would you do if you were a millionaire? What would you do if you were a millionaire? If you were. That's a very common type of grammatical structure that's called it's called a hypothetical. It's also called a subjunctive mood, when you basically use would and were to imagine that something is true that is in fact not true and may never be true. Like, what would you do if you were an elephant? We're just imagining that, right? So we use would and were. Would and were. So those are some examples. Sorry, I can't explain that much more. You want to see teaching and eating. I'm going to eat with my wife, though. All right. All right. Oh, have I answered all the questions? Oh, people, have I answered everybody's questions? Oh, how about making a HelloTalk account? Yes, HelloTalk is good. And also, my company, Yoli, has partnered with HelloTalk. So if you go on HelloTalk and you sign up for their classes, their one-to-one classes, those are actually Yoli classes. And all of those classes on HelloTalk are designed by me and my team. And also the teachers are trained by myself and my team. Okay, my food is getting cold. Oh, people understand. Hooray! People understand that I need to eat. Yay! Well, I understand you guys have lots of questions, and I'm glad you have so many questions. I think it's cool. I'm so happy that that hopefully you find it useful. I'm sorry if I missed anybody's questions. Hopefully next time I'll have a little more time and we can talk longer. Everybody, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch, and next Saturday I will be doing the same thing. I'll be doing this every Saturday until I'm 100 years old. But now it's time for me to eat. My stomach is like very upset. Anyway, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate if you share my videos. I would love that. If you want to check out my Udemy courses, just search Luke Priddy, Lukepriddy. Joanne, thanks for watching, and look out for the group on Facebook. I'm just thinking about it, having this Facebook group where we can sort of talk and I can answer more of these questions so that I don't miss them. Because if we only have an hour and 15 minutes or so, then those won't sort of fall through the cracks. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. All of those on YouTube, especially, and on Facebook. It was an interesting experiment. I don't know how I feel about it. This is my first time on Facebook Live. Not that many people joined, but Raja had a good question. Raja asks, can an elevator pitch have grammatical errors? Anything can have grammatical errors, Mr. Raja. Anything at all. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Time to eat lunch. Time to eat lunch. See ya. Bye-bye.